Welcome back. On this week's episode, we are going to be continuing our series all about tax write-offs and covering two more categories that your expenses may fall under each year. So let's dive right on in. Hi, I'm Heather, a wedding and senior photographer, and on this channel, I help other photographers manage and understand their taxes as small business owners, streamline their systems so that they can spend more time with family and friends, and I also love to give you a sneak peek into my life here and there. Now, as I mentioned, we are going to be jumping into two more categories that may be tax write-offs for your business, but before we do that, I want to remind you that down in the description, you can grab my 15 most common tax write-off categories so that you can start organizing your expenses throughout the year. Now, I know that we're going to be going over all of these in the next several episodes during this series, but I think it's super beneficial to grab that guide because not only can you follow along, but you can also add notes as we start going over each of these categories and easily reference it throughout the year as you start organizing those expenses. So go down in the description and grab that guide. Now, let's jump into the two categories. Those are home office and uniforms. These are two categories that not everyone thinks of right away when it comes to their expenses, so I'm really excited to dive in this week. Home office is the first one we're going to talk about, and it actually divides out into two different types of expenses that may fall under this category. The first one is anything that has to do with your home office specifically. But before we jump in, I just want to let you know that just because you have an office in your home doesn't mean that it is considered a home office. You need to be doing a majority of your work for your business, whether it's a sole proprietorship or an LLC. If you're doing a majority of your work in that office, then it can be considered a expense and a tax deduction towards your taxes for the years. If you use a studio, then you may not be able to use your home office if you're not using it very much throughout the year. So I just wanted to preface that so that you know moving forward for this category and all the things we go under. Now, if you do fall under that, then any types of repairs or furniture you add or decor that you purchase specifically for your office can fall under this expense category. Anything that you are using to make the space how you need it to so that you can run your business in it goes in this category. Now, the second type of expenses that fall under this category actually have to do with your entire home expenses. And what I mean by that is any utilities that you have to pay for your entire home, and part of that goes towards running your office, such as lighting or your Wi-Fi or your heating and cooling, if you have a phone landline, any of those types of utilities then fall under this home office expense, but with a slight stipulation. And that is that you need to be taking a percentage of those expenses that correlate with the amount of square footage your home office is compared to the total square footage that your home is. So what I would recommend to do for this is actually grab your square footage of your office and then also grab the entire square footage of your home. Send that over to your accountant as well as all of your annual bills for those different utilities and let them calculate out the correct percentage for your home office of all of those expenses. So gather all your numbers, grab your square footages, and let your accountant know that you have a home office and that you use it for your business, and they'll be able to correctly calculate out the deductions that you can put towards your taxes for the year. That is the first category. Now, the second category that we are going to be discussing is uniforms. And this is a little bit of a trickier topic because the IRS is very critical on what falls under the uniform category. Now, if you are a wedding photographer and you buy a cute jumper or a dress that you're going to use on the wedding day, but it doesn't have anything that is marketing your business or has something like a logo on it, and you could technically wear that outfit somewhere else for another event or just out and about, then that does not count as a uniform expense. If, though, you have your employees or your independent contractors wear a specific uniform that has your logo on it and really would only be worn when they're working for you or when you're working for your business, then those would fall under expenses for the uniform category. Just be very careful about this. You can't just start putting any clothes that you could potentially wear on a wedding day or shoes that you could potentially wear on a wedding day under this category. You need to be very specific that those outfits would only be used for your business and not for personal use. I hope those two categories were helpful as you start organizing your expenses throughout the year. Let me know if you have any questions or comments down in the comment area, and also be sure to grab that freebie so you can continue to follow along with this series. Now, I'll be back next week with another 2 categories for these tax write-offs. But in the meantime, make sure you go back and watch episode 1 and 2 so that you are on top of all of those different categories for your tax write-offs. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day.